Our numbers are the best available numbers. There's nothing gilded there. I haven't influenced the numbers. They are based on the best information. I'll leave it to economists to opine on whether we're too positive or too negative, but as far as I'm concerned, they are the best possible forecast we could have in this environment.
The areas I was looking at in the budget today was social security and defence. The main thing about the social services budget is that they are totally scrapping their proposal to put people under 30 off income support for 6 months at a time. So that was a big flagship proposal of last year, was 6 months on the dole, 6 months off. It's completely gone, and it's going to cost the government $1.8 billion to scrap it. So defence, we find out they're spending $1 billion on strategies in Iraq and Afghanistan, and that includes us helping the international coalition fight Islamic State. They're also spending quite a few $100 million on the data retention laws. We're starting to get an idea of how much they're going to cost. It's upwards of 300 mil plus more money, $24 million to the department to oversee implementation, 130 mil to telecommunications providers to put in all the infrastructure so they can retain our metadata. The defence budget is a very big budget, but costing hundreds of millions of dollars to retain citizens' data, it's certainly not a small spend.
One of the things I've been looking at is that this budget is quite obviously designed to make everyone forget last year's budget. Whereas last year was all about austerity, this is actually about a little bit of means testing, but actually giving out some government expenditure, whether it's childcare, whether it's some small business spending as well. It's an odd budget for a Liberal Party to deliver because it actually sees a very big spending government and actually a big taxing government as well. One of the interesting things for me is, however, despite this increase in spending to the point that it's now almost spending as much in this coming year as Wayne Swan did when he was trying to stimulate the economy through the GFC, despite all of that, there's not actually a lot of stimulus in the economy, and so unemployment is still expected to remain above 6% for the next 2 to 3 years. Economic growth is still pretty sluggish, so all in all, despite the big spending, despite increases in revenue, there's really not a lot of kick coming from this budget to help get the economy going again.
So 2014 was all about ideology. 2015 appears to be all about politics. This budget is a clear pitch to the coalition heartland. All the goodies and the handouts are for rusted-on coalition types, small business and farmers. So the political story of the budget's pretty patently obvious and clear. What's confusing is the economic story in this budget. The economic narrative really isn't there. Budget repair is stalled because of the political circumstances the government finds itself in, but it's quite an abrupt change of pace from a first budget which was all about budget repair and fiscal sustainability to this budget which says basically nothing about those things.
Last year on Budget Day, Joe Hockey reportedly did a little dance to a song called The Best Day of My Life. This year, he hasn't really told us what he's listening to, but I reckon it might be Gloria Gaynor. Remember, I Will Survive? This is a budget framed entirely around the government's political survival. It's all about getting small businesses to go out and spend money and making voters feel more optimistic, more confident, more happy about the state of affairs. It offers small businesses a 100% tax deduction for anything they buy up to $20,000. Joe Hockey wants every cafe to go out and buy a fridge. He wants every tradie to go out and buy a new toolkit. He wants everyone to go out and spend to overcome the weakness in the economy and the sagginess in consumer confidence and economic confidence in the country. What the budget doesn't do is what the coalition used to always talk about. It doesn't really do anything to reduce the deficit. In fact, the deficits are higher over the next 4 years than they were predicted to be just last December. It doesn't start to pay down debt. It's continuing to rise over the next 2 years. It doesn't really reduce the size of government either. It is fairer than last year's budget. The age pension changes are much fairer, and lots of the really difficult policies from last year, which caused a huge public reaction, have been ditched. For example, the policy that was supposed to make under 30-year-olds wait 6 months to get the dole. But really, when you boil it down, what this budget is about is giving the government a bit of breathing space to consolidate, to catch their breath, to get the political situation back under control, and to give them a chance to have a second term when they can get back to the reform agenda that they always wanted to prosecute before things went so wrong with their first budget last year. Your political hero?
Well, Bob and Christine, mum and dad of the Green movement. Tony Abbott a close second.